Hi guys, how's it going? It's me, Ann. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this mini crossbody purse right here that is clear. I love this trend. I've been wanting to make this as a clutch since last summer, but summer just flew by so quick I didn't get a chance to get onto that tutorial. So this time around, I'm going to show you how to make this into a crossbody purse. I actually saw a online retailer, I think the name was Open Closet, and they were selling this for around $40. So that's where I got the idea of making it into a crossbody purse, and I just love the overall look of this. This is actually really easy to make. The only difficulty that I had making this was looking for the right closure, and I tried so many different types of closure. I tried the magnetic button closure, and that just didn't seem to work or add like a nice appeal to the overall design. But I really love this little snap-on closure that I found from Joann's fabric store, and I like the fact that it adds like a nice simple design to this overall look. Not only that, but it supports the material quite nicely. So if you guys like what you see, stay tuned and I'll show you how to make it. Okay, so for materials, I found the stick clear vinyl from Walmart in the sewing section, but you can also find this at Joann's fabric store. All you will need to make one bag is a sheet that is 18 by 16 inches. Second on my list, I got this package of chain from Lowe's hardware store. This is a pretty good deal compared to chains from a craft store. And plus, this chain is actually more durable and more suitable for a purse strap. Next, from Joann's fabric and craft store, I have a package of eyelets. These eyelets will prevent the chains from ripping off the bag. Next, I will be using some heavy-duty snap closure. You can use other type of closures you like. However, I like to use this one because I like the way it looks. Because I will be using the eyelets and also the heavy-duty snaps, I will need to use this heavy-duty snap tool in order to hammer in both type of hardware. You should be able to find this tool all in the same area where you can find your snaps and your eyelets. If not, then I will provide links on my blog. Okay, so this one is optional, but this is going to be used to connect the chain to the bag. You can connect the chain directly to the bag and not use this, but I will be using this and I will explain why once we get to this part. If you have no idea where to find these materials, I always provide links where you can find them on lifeandstyle.com. Lastly, all you will need is this pattern. I drew it out for you in fourths so that way you can print it out. All you have to do is print, cut, and trace this. The pattern and instructions are all on my blog, lifeandstyle.com. Okay, so first we're going to trace and cut this. Start by having your pattern printed, cut, and ready to trace. Here I have both A and B piece, which form a half pattern. I'm going to place them together where it says tape or connect. Then I'm going to flip the pieces over and trace the rest of the other half. Now I have a complete pattern, as you can see here. Make sure to perfect your lines with a ruler after tracing. After making the pattern, transfer it onto the vinyl. Now it's time to neatly draw out the lines. On the pattern, there is a marking for the buttons. Poke straight through that and make a mark on your vinyl. Once everything is nicely drawn in, cut it out. Make sure to use a sharp pair of scissors for this because you want clean and straight lines. Once you're done cutting, go ahead and fold in the flaps, starting with the sides, and then fold up the bottom. Now, if you're wondering where your bottom and top is, make sure to pay attention to the pattern. If you can see here, I have the corner of the sides lined with the edge of the bottom flap. Remember to have the side flaps placed under the bottom flap. Okay, so starting with the top flap, and I already marked where my button will be placed, so I'm going to puncture a hole right through there, and that way I can insert one of the snaps. So for this particular snap, it comes in sets. So the top part will go on the bottom, which is the cap, and then on the opposite side is the snap. So now I'm taking out the tool and I'm placing that under the cap, and there should be other instructions in the back of the toolbox to help guide you along. Now I'm going to hammer that down. Although this looks pretty intimidating, it's pretty straightforward and kind of fun to do. So here I'm moving on to the body of the purse and I'm going to insert the second snap. This part right here is where the vinyl overlaps each other. What I suggest here is that you take a piece of cardboard or a piece of fabric and place it inside so that way you won't puncture through onto the other piece of vinyl on this opposite end. Now I'm just making a hole so that way I can insert my second snap. So this bottom snap also comes in a set, and what you will need to do is insert in the bottom part, and then there's a little secure piece that goes on top of that. Then you just need to hammer it in. Okay, so for this part, I'm going to add in eyelets on the sides of the purse. Make sure to start at the upper quarter toward the top flap. Now puncture in a hole with something sharp, then insert the eyelet with the ring side facing the right way. So in other words, the ring side on the outside part of the bag. The next thing you're going to do is hammer down the wrong side of that eyelet with the little tool I showed you earlier. Hammering down the eyelet should be pretty straightforward and simple to do. So as you can see, the reason why I have these eyelets is to prevent it from ripping off with the chain. Okay, so this next part right here, I'm basically taking my ring, opening it up, and inserting it through the eyelet. Then I'm going to add in the chain. So the reason why I'm using this ring is because it connects the eyelet to the chain pretty nice and easy. However, you can go ahead, skip that part, and just link the chain part to the eyelet. However, I found it difficult because the chain is pretty hard to open and the sizes just don't go well together. So that is why I am using the ring. Okay, so the finishing touch should always be the fun part, and that is to decorate your bag. You can use studs, you can use whatever you like. I like that clean, simple design, so I'm just going to keep my bag as it is and have fun with this. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up to support this channel, and if you want to see more weekly videos, then subscribe. Other than that, I will talk to you guys next time. Love you. Ciao.